Okay, Chair, we are recording and on Facebook Live. You can go ahead and get started.
Mahalo, Emilia. Okay, I have a new script, so bear with me because now we have things we got to do. So bear with me, I'm going to read through it. So Velina Nuyo ke aloha ia oko pakahia pau. It is 2:33 p.m. and I'd like to call this meeting to order. Mahalo for joining us this afternoon for the 13th Festival of Pacific Arts and Culture Commission meeting. Today is September 27th, 2021. As a reminder, today's meeting is being conducted via Zoom and is also being streamed via Facebook Live. At this time, I'll be conducting a roll call to establish quorum for this meeting. Commissioners, as I call your name, please confirm your presence by unmuting your microphone and stating your presence. Please also identify any other persons who may be with you at this time. So Chair is present and it's just myself and my dog Aka. Vice Chair.
Here, and I'm by myself.
Commissioner Ani Benham.
I'm present and I'm by myself.
Commissioner Bento is excused. Commissioner Kehokalole is also excused. Commissioner De Silva.
Ayawa ma'anai. Ya'uiho, I'm here by myself.
Sure.
My dog has now gone on.
Oh, I forgot. Kumi.
Mahalo.
Commissioner Lum.
Present and by myself.
Commissioner Onishi is excused as well, and Commissioner Wankalu.
Aoya aloha mai kako wau no ohinale moana Wankalu. I am here with my mother, the queen of the house, in the room. Mahalo.
Okay, so we have quorum. I do want to go ahead and turn over the time to Commissioner Salah if she wants to go ahead and make an introduction of our guest today for the Vihina.
Aloha, everyone. I would like to introduce Mr. Kihei Nahale'a. He hails from Hilo, but currently residing in Kahuku. He's an educator, producer, aloha aina farmer, father of two, so many slashes behind his name. He currently works out of Woodward Community College on a Title III grant. He's here today, not as WCC, but as one of his many other hats, Project Kuleana. So, Kihei Nahale'a, I turn over the time to you.
Mahalo Anui, hello me kako. I have two screens going, so easier for me to navigate. But milina mai me kelo o wau no hoi o Kihei Nahale'a e like me kani o lelo ai no hilo mai au aka noho au ma ke wahi ulu vehi o ko ola loa ma ka aina o Keana kapa ia no makai ana o Kahuku. I live here in Kahuku now, but my home is Hilo. My ohana has strong roots in Hilo, but also in Kohala area. And I moved here about 10 years ago to Kahuku and Ko'olauloa to raise my family in this area, which has been quite a blessing. Project Kuleana is what I'm here to present. Just a real short little bit today. Some of you may be familiar with what we do. I'm gonna share my screen in just a second, but it's quite an honor to be on this conversation with all of you folks. It's quite a what I say, a bunch of hammers on the Zoom. It's pretty quite amazing to see, and I know all the hard work and a lot of the things you guys are doing just to take care of community in Lahui. So I hope what I present is valuable and useful to you folks, or just brings you a little bit of well-being for the day at the very least. But I'll go ahead and share my screen. Quick presentation about short presentation about Project Kuleana. Here we go. That's working. Let's see. Yep. So Project Kuleana, music for the well-being of the Lahui, is what we do. It's our goal. We believe that Kuleana is what makes music Hawaiian. We have a saying, Kuleana, find it, realize it, and live it. We produced 12 videos of multimedia music experiences with different people, artists of Hawaii, with different songs and different people. Actually, it's going to be about 14 real soon. We just did our 13th one. We have to update this presentation. Well over 100 artists in participation, well over 6 million views or impacts, over 16,000 subscribers to our project, which is not what we expected or what we was even trying to do. We were just trying to just share something that we feel was important, is that we want to make sure that people take care of the legacies, histories, mo'olelo, and mo'okuauhau of Hawaiian music. We were all sitting around one day and we decided that, or we confirmed, I guess, with each other that every Hawaiian has a song. You just gotta look. Just have the kuleana to look. And so we started to work on that journey. So as we did, we formulated a process of how we would create our videos, and we wanted to focus kuleana around three things: the kanio kapu'u, which is the singer or the musician or the artist; ke mele akahaku, or the haku mele, or the composer; and kapana okahi, or vahipana, or historical people, places, and stories. And so we realized that once we make sure we take care of things, those 3 points within our project, then all we really got to do is turn the camera on, and we let those things handle itself. We started a youth program, and with the youth program, we called it Namo'o, and the Namo'o was centered around looking at different things that we felt helped kids anchor themselves to understanding kuleana better, so that when they decided to do things or perform things, people who could relate or understand to that kuleana would recognize it. And those things we decided and believed in, which was mo'okuauhau, or genealogy, or ho'oilina, or legacy, or velo ohana, just traits of your family. We also looked at mo'olelo, or stories, where you would go and take huaka'i mele, or trips around understanding songs, and looking at vahipana, or significant places in and around your area or amongst your community in Lahui. We looked at mo'omeheu, or practices or culture, things that we should do to ho'olu, ho'ohanuhanu, or ho'ike, things that we need to inspire growth in, to honor, and we need to show that. We need to show those practices. We need to do that. As a Lahui, we are a kind of a ho'ike-based Lahui. It's not just talk, but we got to show. And finally, we do that so well that it inspires or sustains through a generation. It's generational change, right? It's generational response. So it's about the mo'opuna. It's about what we do today that sustains us in the later time, so that things ho'omau, so that we create better things for the Lahui. And so that's what we do. Sorry, trying to get moving forward. It's kind of stuck. Hang on. Oh, there we go. We recently just did a project on Kauai, with the Kauai Resilience Project, Napua No'eau, and Kamime Schools on Kauai. And we centered around looking at kids during this time of COVID, struggling with resilience and some self-harm issues that was happening on Kauai prevalently and amongst kids and youth. And we realized we need to try and get them out in a safe, responsible way, to understand a little bit more, to research more about kuleana in these ways, the mo'o of what we do. And so we did that. We put together a project team of different people, different community members from the community and outside and around the area, from different walks of life and different skill sets. And we put them and surrounded the kids with these people. But we also made sure that these people understood our values as Project Kuleana. And we also made sure that we worked the curriculum and we worked the activities that we did that would focus around the kids. That we used the kuleana to focus around the resilience or the safety and well-being of our youth. And so we focused the song, and the song we chose was, oh, sorry, it's stuck again. Sorry, I'm having a little bit of an issue with moving my screen forward. Oh, there we go. We focused on the song Nani Kauai. We explored different places around Kauai. We explored the lyrics. We explored, met different people in the community, sometimes virtually, sometimes in person. And we went and took the kids around to shoot. And so the whole point of it all was really just to try and get kids to find the answers, not outside in the world, but explore the world that they come from and live in. And that we use media in a way to elevate that or to provide relevance of our own people and our own communities. Because sometimes kids believe what's on the screen, or people believe it's really on the screen, even though it's right next to them, standing in line at Safeway, or they can smell it right next to them. For some reason, if it's on the screen, it feels more believable nowadays. So I'm going to go back to share a little bit behind the scenes story of the project we did with Nani Kauai. And I know you guys have a lot to do, so I just wanted to share that share this behind the scenes video about what we did. And then if you want to go and actually view our Nani Kauai project that we did, you can go online on our YouTube channel or our Facebook area and watch our Nani Kauai video of the final product. But I'll go back and share my screen. Thank you for you guys' time. I know you guys are busy, but here we go. Share. Oh, sorry. Let me unshare that. Forgot I need to. Always remember I got to click those two buttons on the left corner. I hope I'm not moving too fast, but I know you guys have a lot to do. So. Okay, here we go.
Aloha mai kākou. My name is Hi'ilei Berg. I'm 9 years old and I live in Kapahi, Kauai. I was fortunate to participate in Project Kuleana this past year. I had so much fun. I met new friends, learned a lot, and got some really cool experiences. Besides getting to work with professionals and learn about the production of a music video, I flew a drone at the beach, weaved my own Lohala headset, learned new mo'olelo, and visited some awesome places on Kauai. I feel more confident to sing and dance in front of people and share my stories. Mahalo for this opportunity.
I had a wonderful time in the process of filming Project Kuleana here on Kauai, especially because we were in the heart of Anahola, in the shadow of Kalalea. So the beauty of the area helped me sing with all of my heart. And resilience here on Kauai. We've been through Hurricane Iniki, we have been through landslides, we have been through mudslides, we have been cut off from everything else. And I think what best describes Kauai resilience is we're always there to pitch in however we can, whether it's food distribution, childcare, prayers, whatever we can to do to help our fellow man, no matter who you are or where you come from. And that's how I think Kauai survives in all disasters.
Working with the kids, with all the haumana, and to see their faces when they find their little niches in what they like to do, it's such a fulfilling experience. You can see it in their eyes that they find that they really want to be a part of it and to devote their time and practice it a little bit more. They're so excited when they arrive every day. Using music for that really opens them up a lot quicker. All they need is just a little bit of encouragement and, you know, to find that, I mean, if we be positive in helping them out and showing them that a mistake is only just a little pebble in the road and that you can always get over it.
We have so many talented resources on Kauai. Within every community, you already have there is a strength about someone else coming to facilitate that community, or it allows a community to see themselves in a fresh light because someone else is facilitating that conversation. So how I think it helped and it really contributed to Kauai as a whole and within those spaces is Kihei and the PK crew were a new facilitator of a conversation that is always happening, but it just got to happen in a different kind of way.
I promise every single one of you have it. No, none of you have it more than the other. You all have it. And if you don't believe me, just call me, I remind you. Call Auntie, she's gonna remind you. Ana call Auntie. You guys all have it. You just gotta be ready to do it. And that takes time. That takes practice, it takes effort.
Mano kalani
Okay, hang on. Yeah. Thank you so much for your time. I hope that was insightful, and just really, I just like to celebrate the fact that Hawaii in itself, the people of Hawaii in itself is so special. We don't really need to do much more than just be who we are. And it's such a gift to the whole world. And I just get chicken skin when I get an opportunity to just highlight that in some kind of way, shape, or form. And I really hope that and mahalo you folks, what you're doing with FestPAC and all the work that goes into doing something like this is quite an endeavor. And if there's anything we can do in any kind of way, even if you just need guys for sweep floors, we're ready to help you folks do this, because it's an important work, and especially at this time, we need to figure out how to have fellowship and spread not just the word aloha in that kind of way, like, use the aloha spirit, but just more like we need to just practice it. And so this kind of work allows us to practice and be who we are, and to sustain that sense of a thriving lahui. Mahalo nui, Commissioner Salah, for inviting me and the rest of you here today. And thanks for my time. I really appreciate it. Aloha.
Mahalo ia ʻoe, Kihei. It's a beautiful reminder, I think, of the work that we have before us as commissioners and as lahui, as we welcome everybody across the Pacific here to share their cultures, right? And to project their kuleana, if you will, that they have in their homes, right? And so I couldn't think of a better, more fitting opening today for us than the work that you folks are all doing. And I'll sort of open the floor. Other commissioners, if you want to extend your thanks or have comments for Kihei.
Mahalo, mahalo, mahalo anui a oi e Kihei. No ka o mauhana mai ka ia pauloa, no ka koa pau. Mahalo.
And I think Antimapu, go ahead.
Yes. Kihei, I have to say again that the two Kihei that precede you in being named are really proud of you and your work. And you follow in really good footsteps in your family, in your ohana, and in those, who've gone before you. And it's, as one of the older ones in the community now, it's very encouraging and exciting to see you young people take up the Hawaii uli. And, in the film, looking at Mehana Vaughn and all the work that she's done, and Kau'i Kaina, and so many people. I also want to just take a moment here to acknowledge Laiana and Cami Kanoa Wong for all of the just frontline lahui, kanaka, everything Hawaii. I wish I was born in your lifetime, because it's so much more exciting than the lifetime that I was born into. But I'm so happy that I'm privileged to see all of this unfold and to be the kumuhula of Laiana and Cami's children, and to see them, the parents in the keiki, the velomakua. It's just all of the work that you folks are doing are a testament to each other, and your own little lahui, in a sense. You folks all support each other, you're there for each other, and it's to the benefit of the entire Lahui and the community. I just want to mahalo you and Laiana and Cami and all of those in your community and your generation who use this media and don't let it abuse you, but you use it for the furtherment, betterment of all of us, and to teach the kids how to use these tools and not let them control us is just amazing work. You're to be commended. So I just wanted to take that time to mahalo you and Layana and Cami and just acknowledge the big sorrow we have in our Lahui because of the great loss. Mahalo.
Mahalo, Auntie. Anybody else have any thoughts? I'll share my reflection too on Cami. I in preparing for this meeting, it hadn't even crossed my mind to do something for their ohana today. And then as we were in the meeting, I was thinking about it like, gosh, how do we not? And one of the things that I'm reflecting on in this moment is that my initial reaction was, do we do a moment of silence? But it felt so wrong, because I think Cami would want us to share our voice and to lift our voice and lift voices of others in advocating for whatever it was that was important, right? And so in this work that we do, I think it's paramount that we sort of use her example of not silencing our voice or being ashamed of who we are, or our poli, or the poli that have raised us, and to understand that these just are parts of who we are. And Kihei, like you said, right? Like, we just gotta be us. And that's the most important thing, right? Is we just gotta be us. And that's enough. And we're whole. And our Lahui doesn't need to suffer, right? Like, we're us. And so I think Mea Mau Mana'o, I think we can go ahead and start our meeting today. And I know we have lots of other work. So Kihei, on a lighter note, I only know two Kihei, and you guys happen to be related. And if I didn't know any better, I would say the beard is a new requirement. If you're gonna be a Kihei, you gotta have the beard. But
the Kihei of the faith.
Okay. All right. With that, I'm going to go ahead and move on our agenda. And Kihei, you're more than welcome to join us. Or if you have to ha'alele, a'ole pirkia.
Mahalo nui, auhio kako, aloha.
Okay, I have more of that wonderful script that I have to use. Okay, so I'm going to move on to agenda item number 2. It's our public testimony. I'm going to go ahead and ask that if you have any public testimony that you would like to offer, that you go ahead and unmute and turn on your camera. I know we did receive some written testimony in advance of the meeting, and so that's been distributed to members ahead of today's meeting, but I don't see any else. Okay, awesome. I'm gonna go ahead and keep moving on then. We're gonna move on to agenda item number 3. Sorry, I'm gonna pull up my agenda here. Wanna go ahead and discuss the minutes. The minutes were circulated. I'd entertain a motion to adopt the minutes.
I move to adopt the minutes.
It's been moved. Do I have a second?
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. We're in discussion. Any discussion, members? Okay, just making sure. I'm going to say them again. It's a really important set of minutes. A lot of important decisions were made at that meeting. And so I just want to take extra care today on top of what we normally do to ensure that those minutes are accurate. And so before I call for the vote, just want to make sure that I do that. Okay, all right. I'm going to go ahead and call for the vote. Chair votes aye. Vice Chair?
Aye.
Commissioner Ani Benham?
Aye.
Commissioner De Silva?
Aye.
Commissioner Lum?
Aye.
Commissioner Wonkalu?
Aye.
Okay, our minutes have been adopted. Mahalo, members. Gonna go ahead and move on now to agenda item number 4, which are permitted interactions. We did have the permitted interactions that are promoted. That's not the right word. That are permitted according to our statute. But both of those permitted interactions that I'm aware of are the venues committee and the admin committees both met in the interim between full commission meetings. And we'll be giving updates and other discussion today that would disclose anything that was discussed in those committee meetings. There was also 2 written reports that documented what happened in those permitted interactions as well, just in case. So I think we're sort of doubly covered, if I'm not mistaken. I'm gonna go ahead and any other permitted interactions? Okay, I know everybody's Alimanaka is full, yeah, so we don't have time for other meetings. Okay, number 5, we're gonna move into a discussion of our administrative committee updates. I do want to just say that we're gonna stick to some generic sort of process things. We won't be discussing in detail today specific names or anything that would require us to disclose that. And so I want to just go ahead and turn it over to Commissioner Ani Benham to give her report of our admin committee. Mahalo.
Mahalo, Chair, and aloha, commissioners and guests. You will have received the minutes of the administrative committee. We met on Saturday, September 18th via Zoom. We did discuss our festival director recruitment process. I wanted to, first of all, I want to mention 3 things about this process. First, want to mahalo all the folks at NAHA, Malia, you and your crew for sending out the e-blast to a variety of constituencies. The festival director job description went out to a number of community-based organizations. I would refer you to the minutes where we've listed all of the all the community organizations that the job description was sent out to. I had sent it out internally to the University of Hawaii through Hawaii Papa'okeau and Puko'a Council. I also sent it to others that were interested. I would like to ask if there are folks that other commissioners have sent the job description to. Perhaps what we could do in lieu of time, Chair, is to have commissioners send a point person. You can help me with that. Names, organizations, so that we can document where we sent job descriptions to. Can I go ahead and just ask for folks to send that in as opposed to?
Of course.
Okay, so if I could ask you to do that over the next couple of days. Chair, who should they send it to? To myself, to Malia?
If we can, if Malia, if you don't mind aggregating those, or if you want to
Sure.
delegate to somebody.
Not a problem. We'll receive that.
Perfect.
Mahalo. Okay, so please send your contacts or your community-based organizations that you sent the job descriptions to, so that we could at least document what networks that JD went out to. Just for your information, we have received so far 3 applications. We would love to have you send the JD out to others. We close the search in another week on October the 5th. Also in the minutes, you will see the process. That's the second piece of the messaging that I'd like to share with you. You will see that we have begun to screen the applicants. And we will be meeting on Saturday, October 9th as a committee to review all of the applications. We are using a template, and you would have received that template as an attachment to this meeting's minutes. It provides us with all of the criteria that we are looking for in a festival director. And that criteria is also listed in the job description. Our review on Saturday will be presented to this full commission on Monday, October the 11th. We will be asking to go into executive session to talk about these personnel actions at that meeting. After that meeting, we plan to interview candidates. And then on Monday, October the 25th, we will come back and report to the full commission. We will again ask to go into executive session. We are asking for an allotted 45 minutes so that the full commission will have an opportunity to speak with our finalists. And then on Monday, November the 8th, we will then make a recommendation to the full commission, presenting the finalists for the festival director and asking for ratification. So that's the process and the calendar that we will be following. So that's the second thing. And the last thing, just an update that both myself and it's in the minutes as well, and Aaron Salah went to speak with the East-West Center to reconnect the work of FestPAC to the work of the East-West Center. We spoke specifically to Mary Hattori, who is the interim director of the Pacific Island Development Programs, and to Jill Hamasaki, who does marketing and events communications for East-West Center. They're very excited, along with Richard Vostecki, their CEO. They're very excited to work with us again, and we are looking to them for not only connections through the Pacific, but also providing us with office space for the FestPAC Festival Director. So all good there as well.
Awesome.
Thank you, Chair.
No, thank you. Commissioners, any questions? Okay. I would just kind of want to echo, if you folks have networks that you can share the opportunity with folks, please do continue to share it. I think it's important that we have a rigorous sort of outreach to make sure we can get as many qualified candidates as possible for the position for us to evaluate. So please continue to share that. I know for HTA in particular, it went out to our full email database, which is over 18,000 folks. So I'm hoping that that got some good reach for us, and also went out on our social media across HTA. So yeah. Okay. All right. Hearing no further questions for Commissioner Ani Benham, I'm going to go ahead and move on to our next agenda item, which is agenda item number 6. And so I want to go ahead and turn over the time to Commissioner and Vice Chair Salah for her to kind of give us an update. And then there was a written report, and then we can get into our discussion. I do want to say, though, that this is sort of the meat of the discussion today. It actually worked out perfect because today is the quarterly meeting, so we don't have as much of a time crunch. We had appropriately scheduled enough time to really discuss this thoroughly, because after we make the decision today, it is the decision. So Vice Chair, over to you.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Chair. So the venue subcommittee met on the 16th of September over Zoom, and we had a pretty lively discussion regarding the venues. And unfortunately, rather than cut down, we added one to the mix to satisfy sort of the things that we were looking for. So if I go on the agenda, location A, Magic Island, Ala Moana Park, I did put in some requests for cost estimates to HPD because what we're primarily concerned about is going to be the security costs associated with holding a long-term event there. The thing, again, that we cannot judge for is whether or not we're going to be able to garner neighborhood board support for the festival village, which is going to be, more than 7 days in a row usage of the park. So that one, again, we have to wait. I can't give you cost estimates. It's probably take one more week for me to get the definite cost from HPD. The other thing that I wanted to mention that we discussed is in the manual, it does specify that in the village, we should have spaces for locking and storage. Now, if that's something we can offer them off-site, then I think we can, sort of take that off of our list of things that we would need for the festival village. But it does let us know that we should have space for storage on site. So that's all for Ala Moana Magic Island. The second location for the main festival village was University of Hawaii. And we were actually very positive in discussion about University of Hawaii. I did have an informal discussion with the university. And they didn't say no, which is great. They had some reservations, first of which is that upper campus is ceded land, so figuring out what might be subject to payments per OHA, rental fees. They did mention that our mission is not may not fall under UH's educational mission, which opens us up to also some additional requirements. Also, how to keep the festival from disrupting normal campus operations and just the smaller issues of security, parking, and facilities. That said, however, we think that UH obviously is an excellent, candidate. The thing that we are stuck to, though, is the fact that we do have a pretty large sum of money in the convention center. And so we put our heads together and thought, well, state and state, right? So could we potentially move money from one pot to the other pot? So that's something for us to discuss, I guess, with Margaret or with the purchasing. But if that is something that is possible, then the committee is very positive about going to UH and requesting actual participation. The last location was Hawaii Convention Center, and this is the one that we are, I guess, most recommending because of all of the requirements that a festival village would need to hold. The main stage, country booths and demonstration areas, dressing rooms, amenities, restrooms, information and festival merchandise booths, parking and drop-off and pickup areas. We also wouldn't have to worry about staking things into the ground in terms of building different little structures for each of the villages. However, we did discuss that we must offer or a stage for a stage on the ground. Essentially, we need to offer space for the delegations to perform. And so we threw in a third location, well, fourth location technically, as a stage site, which would be Thomas Square. So as we were trying to think of places that we could hold it, if, let's say, we are unable to move money, so there's so many variables to this, obviously, but we just felt that Thomas Square would be another great option considering its proximity to Blaisdell, urban Honolulu. The park is way underutilized. So we wouldn't have such a pushback as we would with Magic Island and Ala Moana, but it's also very culturally significant. It's one of the few places, I think one of 3 or 4 places on the island that you can raise the High Hawaii by itself. You have the Kamehameha the third monument that is there. The city just completed multi-million-dollar renovation on the park, so everything is looking really good. It's the fences are still up, but those are planned to come down within the next few months. So our recommendation, if we are unable to move money, is going to be keep with the convention center. But we did discuss that UH is a great option. Should we stay with the convention center, we'd like to offer a primary main stage at Thomas Square. And that's what we have so far. Unless Jamie, you'd like to jump in if I'm missing anything.
I have nothing to add. That was a very good summary of our discussion. Definitely, thank you.
Okay, Commissioner Ani Benham.
Yeah, so just for clarification, Commissioner Salah, so right now we do not know whether or not we would be able to do state by state convention UH. We don't know yet if that is possible. Is that correct?
That's correct. We don't know if that's possible.
Okay, so let's say that it's not possible. And we do use the Hawaii Convention Center with a staging area being in Thomas Square. Would we also be able to use other close by facilities as other like alternative staging areas?
Yeah,
like
absolutely.
Andrews, like I'm thinking parts of UH and
yeah, I think, sorry, I missed that part. One of the things we also did discuss is if we do end up holding the village itself in the convention center, then the necessity is even greater for us to hold, sort of these remote stages elsewhere on the island, something on the west side, something on the windward side, maybe not every single day, but a set opportunity for delegations to go out and engage with the community, perform, perhaps do a little mini marketplace for those performing.
Thank you, Mahalo, thanks.
Other commissioners' thoughts, reactions, discussion? Today's not the day to be quiet. I will say this, I'll speak up because I was always going to try to go last, but I'll say this. I really don't think the convention center is the best main festival venue. Granted, I've only been to 2 festivals. I just, it doesn't feel right to me. And maybe I'm biased because I work in it. But to me, there is something about it being open, accessible, and in community, and easily accessible to community that I think is an important part of this. Thomas Square intrigues me a little bit, but its urban location makes me a little bit hesitant with Keiki. There are often children, you know, running around and stuff, and just with how busy of a thoroughfare and the impact to traffic that it could have makes me nervous. I'm not gonna lie, I love the fact that it's right next to a hospital. There's part of me that just really appreciates that. And part of me does appreciate its proximity to Blaisdell. Although I'm curious about, has Enterprise Services sort of figured out the future of Blaisdell, and would they make up their mind right in the middle of when it was supposed to happen? Because that makes me nervous. Go ahead. I saw you on mute.
Well, there's nothing in stone, but they're moving toward, yeah. So that's also on the table. But again, we haven't made a definite decision, yeah.
But timing wise, that makes me nervous because that feels about the right time it would take for the flywheel of government to get up to speed, and then it would get up to speed, and then we would be like, oh, scramble.
Very true.
The other part that kind of got me with your UH comments was the fact that we would have to pay ceded land revenue, and I'm like, no, I'm not paying it to myself. It's us.
That's a great point, and something they did bring up. And again, that's like an offline, off the top of your head conversation. But where, yeah, I mean, I think everyone can see how great UH would be as a location. I think for the committee, the thing that keeps getting us is that we have a huge, nice chunk of money in the convention center, and it's something set that we can say, okay, we can use this. UH is more of a variable that we're going to have to kick the can down the line, you know, longer.
Okay. Sorry, I'm still processing everything you also shared.
Go ahead. I think if I can share a little bit more about our conversation, one of the things we also discussed is that, you know, we're very urbanized. Honolulu's more urbanized, I think, than maybe anywhere they have held festivals before. So what we can't offer is that same, well, maybe we can offer a similar feeling, but what we can do is hopefully make this this festival in the marketplace economically viable for the artisans, so we can help them move their product. We can help them actually make this festival work for them, because that's a primary concern, right? Is that they can sell and they're able to make their money back. So that's something also that we want to keep in mind when we're setting up the space for the village. How many hours can we keep it open? Is it accessible to people? I'm not saying that convention center does all of that, but yeah, there's just, we have a lot of questions.
Anybody else? Commissioner De Silva?
I think everybody knows what I'm going to say, but I'll say it anyway for the record. I know we have a lot of money invested in the Hawaii Convention Center, and I think that what we need to do there will at least need that money for that, or maybe, you know, they'll even more than that. So I think if we can negotiate and decide on what we're going to hold at UH. I mean, we could just do the whole thing at UH if they said yes, but then that would leave all the funds at the convention center unused. And so I think it would be good for us to see what we actually need to have the Festival Village on the main stage at UH. And even though it has a lot of other facilities, if we're already paying for similar facilities at the convention center, then we should have those events at the convention center to utilize the money that we already have there. I would hate for us to make a decision based on money that's already invested in convention center and not make our decision based on the best place for us to host and the best place for us to welcome our cousins across the Pacific. I'm a firm believer in if we make our best effort to choose the best that we have, we'll figure out how to make everything else work. So that would have been my answer to the worry about how much money is at the convention center. And then also if some of that money is able to be moved to UH, then, you know, that would help. And so my recommendation would be to put UH at the top of the list now as the primary location for the festival village. And that doesn't mean we're not going to use convention center. It's just that the things we're going to use the convention center for are things that do not have to be located in the festival village, but things we still have to hold space for, and events that we have to have, like the symposiums, like the culinary, like the, you know, even the, we can have chant presentations or music presentations or panel discussions, all kinds of things that we can use the convention center for. We could use UH, but let's use the convention center since we have funds there, and really focus on what we shouldn't do at the convention center. We really should not have the festival village at convention center. I will be embarrassed personally after having, you know, been at the 5 last festivals. I don't think it's our best effort to have the festival village at the convention center. We could do it, conceivably we could do it, but it's not the ideal place, and it wouldn't be, we wouldn't be able to really foster the feeling of what the festival village is for in a cement building enclosed there. And I would like to also not have, I really want to use the convention center. I think it's a great facility. But I wouldn't want to just have that be our place that we gather and not have other places. So UH, you know, I like the idea of having a day or two in Waianae or Kapolei, in Kailua or Kaneohe or Laie. I think those are great ads if we can just, you know, a bus for a day, and those communities host small parts of the delegations. That was one of the things that we had thought of initially, and for us to bring that back, if we have funds to do that, that's awesome. We should do it, definitely. Anyway, those are my thoughts. Thank you.
Thanks, Commissioner De Silva. I just want to, you know, for the purposes of our discussion, I recognize that there is a significant amount of funding that is currently under contract with the convention center. But make no mistake, we were going to have to fundraise beyond this anyway. And so to that end, there will be a means for us to utilize the funding, right? It's not like because it's at the convention center, we're going to lose it. But I don't want it to be the main driver for why we pick this main festival village. When I think about the main festival village, it really is the pico of the festival. Certainly there are a myriad of other satellite venues on any given topic or practice or art, right? And there are satellite venues for regional differences, right? And so I think what we're really talking about, and what I would like to see personally, is, again, the lens that this festival village, the main festival village, is one that becomes the pico of the festival, that really holds together all the satellite venues. So, and we're not deciding it on the other satellite venues, but rather the centricity of the main village, I think, is the important piece. We can pick up the nuances of regional things in satellite venues, right? We can pick up the other things that are more practical, like film at the convention center, because there are 2 full theaters. There are other things like symposiums that we can do at the convention center. The reception, right? When we have to hold the major reception for the heads of state, can all be done in the ballrooms, right? So there are a myriad of uses of the convention center that I think are appropriate. However, I don't feel like the main festival stage and village need to be there personally. Any other thoughts?
I also wanted to make a comment on Thomas Square. Although I think it's a great venue to have a stage, except for, like Kalani said, that the traffic kind of worries me because people will be walking all over. But I don't think that having that as the main festival stage, separated from the festival village, that doesn't make any sense. The whole idea is to have the main stage with the village. That's the whole idea of that main stage. So I just wanted to add that thought on Thomas Square.
Any other thoughts? Commissioner Ani Benham?
Yeah, so thank you, Commissioner De Silva, for those thoughts. It was crossing my mind as well. In a case like this, I would say that a more formal conversation with the University of Hawaii system is indeed needed. I agree that we should utilize the convention center for a variety of different activities, including safe storage, because you're not going to get that particularly at the university, given that they're going to be using some of their facilities for their summer session, which happens during the month of June as well. But I think, Commissioner Salah, that it would be good to have a conversation if this group feels like that would be, as Chair had said, sort of the PICO. I think it's I think it's kind of interesting that we would actually be having this on ceded land. So I am actually intrigued by all of that right now. And I think that probably would be a good place to go. I am very much a supporter of utilizing a variety of other venues for satellites around our island. I think that's going to be extremely important to me that we have that opportunity to do so. And by the way, we also have Kapiolani Community College. You know, they have that great lawn. They put the stage up there as well. So what I'm thinking about in terms of Manoa is like, where does that stage go? Do you use Andrews Amphitheater and then you use the mall for the village?
That I can imagine that.
Yeah,
I think that would be great to use Andrews as the main stage in the mall for the village.
But we will need to have the convention center. I will tell you that it's getting really hot, right? And in June, it's going to be extraordinarily warm. And so I'm just thinking that some people might find the convention center a nice reprieve for some of the panels.
Yeah, definitely the convention center for, like, you know, panels and things like that. But as far as the festival village and the stages and all the outdoor things, let me tell you, what we have in Hawaii is nowhere near hot from some of the countries that I've been to. Mm-hmm. And they're very used to this. They don't have air conditioning, most of them, in their countries. So it's going to bother us more than it's going to bother them. I you know, really don't want to kind of pamper them with too much modernization. I'd like it to be just really just, you know, the aina and the whatever the weather is, and whatever, if it rains, it rains. We have been drenched in many countries. I think maybe every country that we've been to, and that's part of the experience, and that's part of the charm of the country that you're visiting, is to really, if you're enclosed indoors, you don't really get to feel what it's like, what the land is like, and what the air is like, and what the mountains and the breezes and all of that. And being outdoors and really experiencing all of that is
hence the need to get out.
Yes,
important. Out of Honolulu, actually get out of Honolulu.
Chair, I'd like to tag on to Commissioner De Silva. This is probably the best time to add a comment, but I will preface my comment by offering my mihi to any and all whom have worked exceedingly hard at all that has been presented thus far. This is, so please take no offense, anyone on this meeting. This is just a reflection. Tagging on to Commissioner De Silva, yes, I would agree. Our people, I'm going to be rather critical now. Our fellow Kanaka have grown quite accustomed to Western creature comforts, including air condition. It's evidenced in our daily lives by what we see when the public makes a big fuss about air conditioning in schools. As someone who came through schools with no air conditioning at all, there was nothing wrong with it. It's only what we allow or what we don't allow. So I'm not a fan of coddling and supporting that. I don't believe in it, and I think it's bad for our people. With that said, if people have to walk, they have to walk. If they have to walk through the elements and they have to be a part of it, that's part of how we connect to Aloha Aina. If we truly love our land, then we understand what being upon that land means when we have to. It's one thing for everyone to retreat into comfortable areas, but it's another thing to intimately know what it means to stand. And I know what this means because I have stood out there holding a kahili, wearing barely anything, and the ice cold winds blowing, and we have to stand there for hours. I know what it means to dance on the hot gravel and rocks, and then when you come off your feet and your knees are bleeding, but that's okay because it was kuleana. And to what Commissioner Benham has said, yes, I view what in the larger scheme of things, this is like trying to force that square block into a very round opening, and it doesn't quite fit. From my dear friend Senator English, from his time on the commission, I did not agree with a lot of the things that he pushed, especially having it at the convention center. So I'll say that I might as well be free to say this because my announcement was going to be is that in my capacity at OHA, this will be my last meeting in capacity at OHA, as I will be moving on to other kuleana. But yeah, I didn't agree with that because there are, yes, we can afford our guests, our family. This is our family. And this is our Pacific Island culture. Sometimes our people in so many different places have become so far accustomed to things in an American format discussion and all of the trappings that come with all of the rules and the standards and the regulations and the restrictions and the this and the that. And then it becomes literally ridiculous, But for what it's worth, wherever the festival is held, always can. Always can. But I would agree with Chair, being outside is essential. Some of the most mana-filled moments are outside. The confirmations when our ancestors come to be with us are in the outside. And I have been privy to many of them. So yes, wherever a main venue can be, that's where it should be. And I would say that whatever the discussion that needs to be had, I place great faith and trust in the voices and the leadership on this commission to not ask permission, but to tell the people in their various places of whatever authority and responsibility that this is something that they're going to have to yield on. And this is something that they're going to have to make happen. This is the name of Hawaii. This is no one person. It is the name of our people and the name of our islands to our family in the Pacific. We cannot allow their thoughts and the sentiments of too many that have gone before calling us the plastic Polynesians, the plastic Pacific Islanders. We cannot allow that to, to ring true. But again, this is with all due respect to all who have worked so very hard thus far. I very much appreciate hearing everything that has been said so far. Mahalo.
Mahalo Hina. Sorry, so surprised. I'm shocked, but I just want to mahalo you for your time on this commission and the fact that you've signaled that in the official capacity, I think is an important one for us. So mahalo for all that you've done. And I know you have a lot of kuleana with mama and everything. And, having done that myself, I know how important that is. And so, yeah, whatever other kuleana you have, just please know that we support you in that too.
Mahalo. Chair, I'm always, if we should probably have a follow-up conversation, but by no means am I retreating from any kuleana in the community. I'm just shifting where I'm going to be.
Understood.
Mahalo.
Yeah, I want to just kind of riff off what Tino was sharing, right? Those confirmations of our kupuna happen, and sometimes they're only known to you. Sometimes they're not ho'ailona for everyone. Sometimes they're just for you. And I've had that personal experience a number of times, thankful to my kumu. But yeah, I'm just echoing that. I feel like it needs to be reinforced. Yeah.
Polole.
Thank you, everyone, for all of your comments. I think I definitely kako what everyone is saying. I think in our committee discussion, we are definitely worried that we are way behind. So it's basically 2022 and we haven't decided. I think which is why the push on our side was, okay, convention center is a sure thing. The parking is dedicated, the facility is dedicated. But of course, outside is preferable, is definitely preferable. So that being said, I have started an informal conversation, which is now going to become formal, and we'll make a formal request to see if UH is even on the table, right? Because now we don't know yet to what extent UH is going to be on the table for us for the Festival Village. So we can go back and do a formal request so that we can even decide if UH is an option for us.
Yeah, I in my mind, where I'm kind of at right now is making UH, and I'm leaving that a little bit open because UH also is a system. So if that particularly means Manoa, or if it meant a West Oahu, I'm open to both as a system collectively, and then having Magic Island as the plan B. I think we all agree that the convention center is certainly going to be the place for all kinds of things. And so for that, I think it's comfortable and safe to take it off the list. The money that we have associated there will not be lost. We can research some ways and understand what our limitations are with the funding that's been committed and contracted at the convention center. I can do that with you, Commissioner Salab, because I'm going to put my work hat on for that one. And we can figure that out. But I think I feel really uneasy saying this, but I gotta ho'okanak a little bit. I almost think outside is non-negotiable. I almost think that convention center, for that very purpose that's been articulated today, it becomes a non-negotiable. When I think about locked storage for things on site, I think it does have to be on site because the whole purpose of it is not to move all your equipment and mail all over the place, all your ukana all over the place. And I'm thinking it could be as simple as a locked storage container. And they have those small, 4x8 or 8x10 small shipping container kind that we can lock. And I think if we get creative in that way, Matson, knock, knock, Kuhaku, anybody want to give us some old ones, or Young Brothers want to give us some old ones? That's a means by which to provide for those sort of things. And I know we can work through that. And I would hate for locked storage to be a disqualifier, having not thought of those kind of solutions. So I don't know.
Yeah, I think your suggestions are definitely, valid. The thing that I'm concerned about is neither of them is for sure. It's not like we can call and reserve Magic Island or UH. So I think this conversation has to obviously we have to go and make the formal request to see if either of them are even a potential location for us. Which is why I would not want to take the convention center off the list right now until we have a site that confirms that they can actually host us. That's just my.
No, thanks for that. I mean, it'll never be completely off our list. We already signed on the dotted line and paid for it, so it's always there. But yeah.
Chair?
Yes.
And so I'm not sure how I may have missed that meeting for the venues. But then again, if you ask me what I ate yesterday, I wouldn't be able to tell you. Thinking about what happened last week, that's an even worse effort. But you know, there is still the option. I wanted to have very light kind of toss around with it. I did speak to Senator Keoho Kalole. The festival has an amiable audience with the haku'aina of the Aina o Kualoa, that ranch. And there is amiable audience there. The haku'aina is favorable to any and all discussions that might avail itself. Someone with a familiar face with a bun on her head went and had a conversation with him and said that as a haku'aina, he can contribute all that he can to helping to uplift the name of our people and our islands and avail whatever was needed. So kind of, you know, did push that. If Commissioner Salah or anyone else feels that may be something to potentially take up, you know, as an option, there is again amiable audience to it. Oh, and lastly, because I did disclose that I'm not going to be acting in, you know, OHA capacity, that does free myself up to help any of the commissioners, you know, on as active commissioners to push. In fact, it will be much easier for me to push if, you know, if any one of you wanted to say, hey, Kumuhina, can you help? Can you help us do this? It'll be easier for me to just be Kumuhina rather than Hinale Moana, Office of Hawaiian Affairs. So with that said, I
guess I'm disqualified because I'm one bun on my head, yeah? Wasn't me.
Well, you know, that can always be rectified. Hey.
Okay. Thoughts?
So just to be clear, so I understand, what we are asking Commissioner Salah and the venue committee to do is to meet with the University of Hawaii system, not particularly with Manoa, but with system president and his team to determine whether or not UH is on the table, right? That's the first thing that we're going to do. And then we're still holding the convention center for appropriate uses to be determined. And the draw to other venues during the time is something that we would want some fund development person to really get out there and get the resources so we can go out to Kualoa, we can go out to West Oahu and to other places on the island. Yeah, okay. I'm very agreeable to that.
Commissioner De Silva, you unmuted earlier.
I don't know if this is possible, but Commissioner Salah, when you meet with UH, is it possible for me to come along?
Sure.
Chair, Margaret, is it?
As long as you guys don't exceed quorum, so 4. Can I have more than 4 of you guys?
Yeah, that's fine.
Because I think this is really doable, and there's a lot of flexibility in how we do this. So I don't want it to just be like we make this formal request and they say no. I I want this to be I think we can work it out so that they'll be amenable. I really believe this, so that Manoa will be amenable.
So
Okay,
I
so
think this is,
Sorry, Kiki,
Sorry.
I'll include you in that for sure. I would actually also like to have support or someone to come to present neighborhood board, because we'll have to get them on our side to even put Ala Moana Kaka'ako, Ala Moana Magic Island onto the list of venues. So I'll put in for a park permit, but we'll also have to go neighborhood board and present.
because that's our VA'a venue, right?
Yes, but it's it was listed on potentially one of the possible locations for the entire festival village. So that's,
Yeah.
if it's the VA'a, that's much simpler, but if it's for a longer time, then we'd have to go up here.
Okay, so I'm gonna, oh, sorry, Auntie, I'm gonna just call an audible here. So if we can, I'm thinking, and just hear me out, and no offense to the venues committee, but I'm gonna ask if vice chair can be your venues committee rep, if you will. Myself, Commissioner Ani Benham, and Commissioner De Silva be the 4 commissioners that meet with the system. I think it's important that, you know, chair, vice chair, the CPAC chair, and then obviously Commissioner Ani Benham, you have certain perspective on system things that I think
Yeah.
would be really helpful.
so Chair, I really wanted to ask Margaret to weigh in on here because I am an officer for the UH system,
Okay.
and I would be wearing 2 hats. And I just, so I would be on the other side of the table.
You know, as long you don't have any financial, I assume no financial interest in whether we go with the UH or not. So, I mean, if you think you can do it without a conflict of interest on your part, you know, in terms of who you would be representing, I think it's fine. But if you feel as if, you know, you really can't because, you know, you would have such a conflict in who you're representing, then maybe you should, you know, not do that.
I'm okay with that too.
Yeah, I'm just trying to figure out how I can be most effective for both the commission and for the university. And if I, and I would agree with you, Chair, but I would like some time to think about this, because again, I would like to be the most effective person that I can be for both entities. If it's facilitation of this conversation moving forward, I would be happy to do that, not in any one of my roles.
And I totally understand. And if we have to be on opposite sides of the table for this one, I would actually welcome it.
You might want me there, yeah.
I think it might be more to our advantage to have you, to be presenting to you, because you already understand what we're going to say. And within the system, you can answer their questions better. And, you know, you're someone they trust already. So I think that would be
yeah, I would agree with you, Commissioner De Silva. I was just thinking about, you know, where I would be best. I mean, that's my role with the East West Center as well, right? Is to facilitate that process so that it's a win-win for everybody. So let's do that, Chair. Let me utilize my hat as an officer of the UH system and work with the commission from that perspective, so that you could bring on maybe Commissioner Lum or Rep Onishi or whoever, your decision.
Well, we still would be subject to the 4, even if she wasn't representing us. She's still in the room, right?
Yeah, Margaret, how does that work?
Yeah, I would feel much more comfortable if you kept it to 4, including Commissioner Benham.
Maybe we just answered that all for ourselves and we went full circle. Chair, vice chair, and the CPAC chair.
And then, Chair, I wanted to just to clarify, to you and Commissioner Sala, if we're rearranging our priorities to now university system, or for me, University of Manoa, UH Manoa, as being the #1 venue for the Festival Village, we had agreed, I believe, to have the seconds in place, but not to move forward on them unless we got a no from the ones that preceded them. So I don't think we have to go to the neighborhood board of Waikiki except for the Va'a ceremony. And I'm happy to go with you to that. But as far as the Festival Village, I think we need to vet out UH first before we actually go to the neighborhood board about the potential of having the Festival Village at Ala Moana Park. That's what we had agreed on, right, Chair?
I thought so too, but what I'm trying to understand is, so Vice Chair, like, is there a reason why we would want to do that earlier just in case? I'm just thinking because it's so very bureaucratic in government with the city.
Yeah, that's my only thing is that I totally understand what Commissioner De Silva is saying, but it's so slow moving that I think it might be good for us just to go and present and just be transparent and say, look, we are looking for sites. This may or may not happen, but would you consider supporting our bid to, beyond, reuse the park for this long? It depends. If we get a quick yes from UH or no, then we'll know right away.
Tell them they just built that beautiful new stadium. Maybe we can help them use it.
Chair?
Yes.
This is yet one more little blurb. After this meeting, our AG representative, Margaret An, will not be able to say that Hinolei Moana cannot attend a meeting with all of you, and that you can't ask Hinolei Moana, the community member, would I be interested in testifying? Or perhaps maybe Commissioner Salah or Commissioner Benham would like to say, well, we have a community member who has experience and background in participating with these things. And, we'd like to invite this community member to speak at this time. Please feel free. 225-4123. It's on the meeting. And for those of you out there who caught that because it's being broadcast, it's not for all you guys to call my number. This is for the commission. Thank you. But, I know that I'm good at certain things. And after too many years of being rather rough around the edges, I think I've refined myself well enough that I can avail myself prudently and diplomatically to your service, to your needs, and be at your service.
Mahalo for that.
That's part of the reason why I'm going to holo.
Between you and Monty, we're setting a precedent I don't like. It's like a revolving door. Nah, no, I get it. Okay, no, I appreciate that offer. Okay, just because I kind of feel like we're stalled out, I want to recap. So here's what I'm thinking. And just tell me if I'm completely off my rocker. I think in the unique circumstances with the main festival village and the nuances with government, with the city, that we should, I think, pursue both UH and the city formally. Just because I think those parallel tracks will be important because both of them have very, very complex labyrinths of mazes of process and people, which is, I think, a little bit unique from the other venues that we're able to book. So if you folks are comfortable, then maybe the resolution for today or the outcome of today's meeting is that we will move forward with UH as the primary and Ala Moana Magic Island as the secondary, and then we'll start those formal asks. This isn't a vote to approve those as the two venues. This is for us saying we got to have the formal, full conversation, not the shoot from the hip, informal, hey, what you think, talk story, that these will then become more formal sort of investigations into can they host or would they be willing to host the festival village. Are we okay with that? Okay, I see some head nods, thumbs up. Okay, so I'm not going to ask for a motion because we're not deciding the venue today, which was what was agendized. But we will be clear, again, I'll restate it, that Vice Chair Salah will go ahead and pursue formal meetings with the UH system, as well as the county to pursue Ala Moana Magic Island and then the UH system to get more information for us to make a decision. Does that sound good? Okay. I don't have any other further discussion on agenda item number 6 unless someone else does. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and defer actual decision making for that to the next meeting. I do want to open the floor again to public testimony, which is agenda item number 7. If you'd like to testify, please go ahead and unmute yourself and let us know. Okay, hearing none, I'm going to go ahead and move on. And I just want to reiterate that we did receive one piece of written testimony that was distributed in the meeting packet. And so all the commissioners have that, as well as the public through the meeting packet on our website. Any announcements, members?
Chair, I just want to say that we might want to include Rich Tremilios, consider his attendance at that meeting with UH.
Okay, we can take a look.
Okay.
And I'm going to defer that to Vice Chair Salah, since she's going to lead the charge on that. But I don't know if you saw the written testimony already. It was pretty detailed, which venues at Manoa might work and for what reasons. So I'll defer to you. Any other announcements? Okay, I would be remiss if we didn't remind folks to apply for a festival director position. It's still open. We would love to have qualified applicants apply, so please apply. I don't have any other announcements, members. Okay, last call. Okay, no further announcements. I want to go ahead.
I just want to say mahalo. Mahalo for being a great leader, and all the commissioners. Thank you all. I think we've evolved really nicely over the last couple of years, and this is the first anything governmental that I've ever sat on. I hate it, but it's necessary, and it's because of all of you that I can continue to do this work. So thank you very much.
Okay, thank you for that. And again, another mahalo to you, Hina, for all your service and continued service, informally and after your formal commission appointment. And I do, yeah, go ahead.
No, mahalo nui. I do mean it. Please, just reach out to me. Pick up the phone or text me. Emails get so overwhelming sometimes that I might miss something, which I often do. Then I got to go backtrack later on. So yeah, if it's something that I can avail itself to, I can say with confidence that as long as we set a date and say, Hina, meet us there on the Zoom or something, that's a very easy ask. So mahalo. Mahalo to all of you for continuing on in this work. Our road will cross again soon.
Of course. Okay, so our next meeting I'm going to announce is for October 11th, 2021. Normal meeting time at 2:30. I will say that it is Indigenous Peoples Day. So I don't know who Malia has the kuleana for the Vehena that day, but make sure it's a good one. Don't miss that opportunity. It is Indigenous Peoples Day. So October the 11th at 2:30 p.m. on Zoom is our next meeting. And if not, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn. Don't be shy. All right, it's been moved and seconded. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? You're crazy. Have a wonderful rest of your afternoon. Be safe, be well. Aloha.
Aloha.